It's Alex. So I'm about to give the third lesson on our mental health unit. I know Andrew and Rachel did the Tuesday lesson or the Wednesday lesson, whichever one you want to consider now that we're fully online. This may go a little sketchy, I don't know, kind of a little bit technically challenged, so bear with me on that aspect in case this does go a little bit slow or I drag around. But to get right to it, we are going to be talking about how to notice and help people with their mental health issues. So, we're gonna kind of do a bell ringer. I had initially planned, if we were in class, to do the bell ringer like a little worksheet. So I'm just gonna kind of go into this bell ringer, and I'm not gonna really go very deep into the answers because I want you to kind of think about it, since we can't really talk back and forth. So the first question is, what do you think would be a main sign of a friend or family member having trouble with their mental health? So I can think of a few things right off the top of my head. I'm sure all of y'all can too. So just think about that for a little bit. We're obviously going to talk about it later on in the lesson, but this is just kind of to get your brain going in the right direction and see what you personally think. The next one is, if you realize a friend is struggling with their mental health, what would you do? I feel like this might be a little different for everybody, especially what the relationship is with that certain person that you do think is struggling with their mental health. Okay. The third one is, do you think it is best to be involved or not involved when someone is struggling with their mental health? I feel like everybody would probably have the same answer on this one. Maybe not Clay, just kidding. But I personally think I would want to be involved if I saw someone that I was close to struggling with mental health issues. I feel like everybody else kind of has the same mindset, but we'll go a little more in depth of why it is important to be there for people going through that kind of thing, even if they don't want it. Alright, so how to tell if a loved one is struggling with their mental health. And when I say loved one, I mean family, friends, people in your class. I mean anybody you're comfortable reaching out to and would know well enough to confront them about these situations. I have a little YouTube video for us to watch real quick, so I can figure out how to get out of here. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, copy. And I'm gonna go to the internet here. And I'm not exactly sure with this thing I have if the sound is playing from this YouTube video, but it's got words, so I'll just kind of, y'all can read, I'll read it off a little bit.
These signs may help you, your friends and family, or work colleagues break through the stigma surrounding mental health and start a discussion. Statistics have shown that 1 in 4 people will suffer with a mental ill health issue in any given year.
This girl is basically just saying exactly the words that are popping up on the screen, so y'all can just watch and read.
Teenagers has risen by 70%. Mental ill health covers a wide spectrum, from the worries and grief that we all experience, to severe depression, or complete loss of touch with reality. Anxiety. We all experience levels of stress and anxiety, whether work pressures or family related. However, for some people, the feelings of anxiety can be prolonged and extreme, making it difficult to carry out simple, everyday tasks and can even cause panic attacks. Common signs to look out for when dealing with an anxious person include reduced concentration and memory, difficulty making decisions, become irritable and angry, and avoid certain situations. Depression. As with anxiety, most of us will experience ups and downs in our lives and during difficult times. If the low mood doesn't improve or go away, this can be a sign of depression. Someone suffering from depression can feel sad, anxious, guilty, angry, helpless, and hopeless. They may also have low self-esteem and a tendency to believe that others only see them in a negative light. Other signs to look out for are self-criticism and blame, impaired memory and concentration, neglecting responsibilities, and loss of interest in appearance and personal hygiene. Bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a severe mood disorder and causes unusual fluctuations in a person's mood. People with this condition can find it hard to maintain relationships and jobs due to their extreme moods. They may lack focus or be unwilling to concentrate on what to you seems to be an important issue. People with bipolar disorder can be full of energy and talking very quickly, easily distracted, going off on unrelated tangents, lacking in energy, or feel sad, pessimistic, and hopeless. Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a widely misunderstood and feared mental illness. People who suffer from schizophrenia do not have dual personalities, but are rather split from reality and may have delusions about themselves or others. These symptoms can have a major impact on the ability to hold down jobs, maintain relationships, and many other aspects of everyday life. People with schizophrenia may appear distracted by things that to you doesn't seem apparent. For instance, they may start paying attention to another unheard voice, or even have a conversation with someone who isn't present. This can result in them finding it difficult holding a conversation while they are distracted with other thoughts. Obsessive-compulsive disorder. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, known as OCD, can be a very disabling condition. Feelings of anxiety are combined with obsessive and unwelcome thoughts that lead to compulsive behaviours. A common obsession is a thought that dirt and germs have contaminated them and find themselves needing to wash hands frequently to feel clean. Compulsions are repeated activities that a sufferer feels compelled to carry out, such as constantly checking that a door is locked. These can be challenging for a person when dealing with routine tasks and managing relationships. Other common obsessions that you might notice are repeating actions and becoming anxious if they are unable to do so, fixating on a number, washing and cleaning ritually. If you think you or someone you know has a mental health condition, you are not alone. Wiltshire Mind is a local charity offering 3 main areas of support for mental ill health. You in Mind, peer support groups, counselling, and telephone service. Details can be found at wiltshiremind.co.uk.
Alright, so that was that. There you see, I'm trying to do my thing. So we're gonna get back into this, maybe. Okay, here we go. So obviously, we're not gonna just go specifically into all those things. It was just telling you a little bit about which specific ones have what kind of effects on people. Some obviously are much more severe than others, but every mental illness, mental health issue does come with different things, but we're just going to kind of talk about the main ones right here. So this is how you notice, like, when someone's having like mental health issues. One of the main signs is emotional outbursts. So this will be like when they overexpress emotions, and it doesn't just have to be them being mad or angry or upset. It could actually be happiness too, but you will notice that when they do have these outbursts, usually it's at an inappropriate time for them to have that specific emotion. Like if you're kind of in an argument or whatever and they just burst out and they're happy and laughing, it's kind of a sign that they're a little off in some areas and they probably need help. I mean, obviously, if it happens once, I wouldn't stress too much about it, but if it's happening pretty consistently and you're seeing all kinds of different emotions, I would definitely pay attention to that. So the next one, that's kind of a main one, is excessive sleeping or lack of sleep. So you'll notice in people that are struggling with their mental health or have certain mental illnesses, they will either sleep all day. Even if they're not sleeping, they're laying in bed, kind of like you see in this bottom right picture. That's just kind of where their safe place is. They don't really want to have to deal with anybody. Kind of part of the social isolation thing. But another thing you will see on the other end of the spectrum is the lack of sleeping, whether that be from anxiety, stress, whatever you may have it, but they're not sleeping at all, and that could be due to overthinking things, and that just spurs on their issues mentally even more. So just a little statistic, 50 to 80% of people with mental illness have sleeping difficulties, which is a very high percentage actually. And only 10 to 18% of like just normal, I'm not going to say normal people, but people without mental illnesses have sleeping problems. So you see where there's definitely a rise in the people that have mental health issues. So another one is change in physical appearance. So the main thing you kind of want to think about here is like, oh, they're gaining weight or they're not eating and they're losing a lot of weight and they look different. Not necessarily. A lot of the times, like, it'll turn into bad hygiene as well, or just letting themselves go. If you see someone on a daily basis that you go to school with and they're always dressed up, they're always looking their best, and then all of a sudden they're not brushing their hair, they're not getting out of their pajamas, stuff like that, that's definitely a sign. And also you kind of automatically think when it comes to the weight difference, you're thinking, oh, they're stressing, they're not eating, but it could be on the other end too, where they're binge eating and taking everything they're worrying about and stuff out on food. So that's just kind of how they cope with it. Another thing is social withdrawal. So that would be when an individual, you might notice in your friend group or your family, they're not coming around, or they're making every single excuse in the book not to come out. And it's not just once, because everybody has those times where they're just like, I do not want to go out today. I'm not feeling it. But if they're constantly agreeing to plans and then they're like, no, not going to go, I just want to stay at home, or they're being really antisocial, not themselves, that's definitely a sign. So keep that in mind. Another one, I'm going to try to get this in before it cuts me off, is substance abuse. So that would be drinking large amounts of alcohol constantly, or drug abuse. With the drug abuse, it's specifically painkillers. So that's definitely an issue. But keep an eye out for that, even though they may go to links to hide that. I'll catch y'all in the next video.